Have you ever wondered, besides the colorful bricks that captivate the whole world, what else is LEGO famous for? Yes, it is lawsuits. For a world-class brick toy company, this happens all the time. But rest assured, it may sound dry, but each LEGO lawsuit is like a movie, full of drama, surprises, and sometimes even a little humor. From familiar Chinese copycats like Lepin, Bella, which are famous for blatantly copying LEGO sets, to Nintendo, a company that sounds unrelated but has also had a collision with LEGO. In this video, let's learn all those legal stories with Brick Focus to prove that LEGO is not just a toy, but also a brave warrior in protecting trademark copyright. Let's get started. The Dutch H.A. Bricks case. H.A. Bricks was originally just a small store founded by a guy named Hein Alkema, specializing in selling LEGO train sets. But instead of just collecting genuine LEGO bricks and selling them, he went further, designing the models himself, writing assembly instructions, printing the logos of railway companies on the bricks, and even modifying the bearings to make the trains run smoother. According to him, it was simply a way to honor LEGO and turn his passion into a business. Many fans also found it interesting because LEGO does not produce many detailed train sets like that. But LEGO said no. They filed a lawsuit against H.A. Bricks for trademark infringement and brand damage. It sounds like just a case of reselling purchased goods, but in fact, LEGO focused on the fact that H.A. Bricks had permanently changed the original brick. For example, when printing another brand's logo on a brick that still has the word LEGO, or pressing ball bearings into Technic holes, the product is no longer the original LEGO. For LEGO, it is no different from a new product but still has the LEGO name, and this can easily lead to a huge consequence, which is to make buyers mistakenly believe that this is a genuine product manufactured by LEGO. Not only that, LEGO also emphasizes the issue of safety and quality. They claim that the H.A. Bricks ball bearings contain lead, which is extremely dangerous for children. In addition, the ball bearings cause the bricks to crack and turn white at the load-bearing areas, so consumers may think, "Oh, I thought LEGO bricks were of such good quality." This directly impacts the reputation that LEGO has built for decades. So how did the other side respond to LEGO's seemingly reasonable accusation? H.A. Bricks refused to give up, arguing with a legal theory called exhaustion of rights. Simply put, once you buy a genuine item, you have the right to resell it, and the original company has no right to interfere. In the US, there is a similar doctrine called the first sale doctrine. In H.A. Bricks' view, they simply bought LEGO, then resold it to someone else, with instructions for making it themselves. They even added a disclaimer on their website and packaging, stating that they had nothing to do with LEGO. But the problem was that the disclaimer itself still contained the word LEGOR, and the court found that even more misleading. Ultimately, the Dutch court ruled overwhelmingly in favor of LEGO. They held that when H.A. Bricks printed, added accessories, and modified the brick, the principle of exhaustion of rights no longer applied. In other words, H.A. Bricks created a new product, but still labeled it as LEGO, which was not allowed. The penalty for H.A. Bricks is also very severe. The infringing products must be stopped within 2 days. If they continue to sell them, they will be fined €1,000 per day, plus €500 for each infringing product sold. They will also have to pay LEGO €16,000 in legal fees, a huge amount for a small business. They will also be forced to provide all sales data to LEGO, and they will have to recall all unsold products, along with a public apology. In your opinion, is this a case of big fish eating small fish? There are also many mixed opinions in the gaming community. Some people support LEGO, saying that the company has the right to protect its brand and the safety of children. But many LEGO fans also reacted negatively, saying that LEGO was too heavy-handed, crushing the creativity of the community. In general, not only with LEGO, but with any brand, we must understand that the line between creativity and infringement is very fragile. Once you follow in the footsteps of H.A. Bricks, the risks are very high. On Reddit, there are people who have calculated roughly, saying that the total loss of the owner of H.A. Bricks could be up to more than €50,000, which is considered to be the loss of the small career of Hein Alkema. China's legal battle with Lepin. Vietnamese audiences are no strangers to the name Lepin. Chinese counterfeiters often have a funny way of copying brand names. And the story of the lawsuit between LEGO and Lepin is truly one of the biggest legal dramas in the history of the toy industry. To understand clearly, we must first find out who Lepin is. Lepin is originally a brand of a Chinese company called Shantou Meiji Model, whose main job is nothing more than copying LEGO. This is not the kind of inspiration like some other companies, the kind that creates compatible bricks to assemble with genuine products, but a complete copy, from the design to the packaging, from the minifigure to the instruction book. If LEGO released the Ninjago set, Lepin almost immediately released a copy called Ninjag, or Ninja Saga. LEGO has Star Wars, then Lepin also has Star Plan. LEGO released Harry Potter, then Lepin called it Magic World. For the average consumer, the only difference is that Lepin is dirt cheap compared to LEGO, otherwise it's a bit difficult to tell the difference. For LEGO, a brand that has spent decades building an image of quality, creativity, and safety for children, this is clearly a major blow to their reputation. Not only is it a loss of revenue, but more dangerously, people who mistakenly buy poor quality Lepin products can turn around and criticize LEGO itself. How can LEGO sit still and take the hit? Since 2016, they have started to continuously file lawsuits in China, the home country where Lepin operates most strongly. The question is, what legal basis does LEGO have to sue Lepin? Because the patent for the LEGO brick, which is the secret to making the bricks fit together, has long expired, meaning that anyone can produce compatible bricks. Knowing this, LEGO did not sue based on the invention, but chose to attack two other points: design copyright and commercial design. They argued that the 18 product sets and accompanying minifigures are three-dimensional works of art, protected by Chinese copyright law. In addition, lines such as Ninjago, Nexo Knights, or Legends of Chima are not only products, but also influential cultural brands, so their packaging, color schemes, and character images also need to be protected under anti-unfair competition laws. Chinese courts were initially cautious, but then, in late 2018, the Guangzhou Intellectual Property Court made a historic ruling. It sided with LEGO. In its judgment, the court recognized all 18 LEGO sets copied by Lepin as copyrighted works of art, and also affirmed that Lepin had engaged in unfair competition by copying the packaging, characters, and design style. By January 2020, when the case reached the appeals court, the court still upheld the entire first instance judgment, making LEGO's victory final. According to this ruling, Lepin and related companies must immediately stop producing and selling infringing products and compensate LEGO about 4.7 million yuan, the equivalent of 15 billion VND. Not stopping there, they also had to post a public apology on the websites of the China Toy and Children's Products Association and the Guangdong Toy Association. At first glance, the fine is nothing compared to the huge profits that Lepin has earned from selling counterfeit goods. But for LEGO, this victory means much more than money. It shows that even in China, which is considered a paradise for counterfeit goods, the law is starting to protect their rights. However, the story does not end there. Shortly after the verdict, in April 2019, Chinese police carried out a spectacular raid on the Lepin factory in Shenzhen. They seized millions of fake bricks and sets with an estimated total value of up to 30 million USD and arrested many senior executives of Meiji Model. This was the fatal blow that almost completely destroyed Lepin. From being the biggest counterfeit brand, Lepin was wiped out after a series of attacks from both LEGO and Chinese authorities. Looking back at the whole story, this was more than just a lawsuit about toy copyrights. It was more like a long-term battle. LEGO had to prove the value of its creation while patiently pursuing the case in a legal system that is not easy for foreign companies. The end result was a very clear message. LEGO will protect its brand to the end, and anyone who thinks they can cash in by copying it exactly must be prepared to pay the price. LEGO's determination to protect its brand is also reflected in many other lawsuits in China. Besides Lepin, there are Coco, Bela, and Alighten. In 2002, LEGO filed one of the first lawsuits against Coco, a toy company specializing in making compatible bricks. The plaintiff was none other than Interlego AG, LEGO's subsidiary in Switzerland. The reason was clear. Coco made bricks so similar to LEGO that they were considered copyright infringement. After reviewing the case, the Chinese court ruled decisively in favor of LEGO. forcing Coco to stop production, publish a public apology in the Beijing daily newspaper, and pay compensation. Coco, of course, did not accept it and immediately appealed, but the Beijing High People's Court upheld the verdict. It is worth noting that in 2003, LEGO won another case in Norway, where the Biltema Group was implicated for daring to sell Coco products. Then came Bella, a name that was once quite famous in China in the world of fake bricks. In October 2017, LEGO took Bella to court. This time, the accusations went beyond copyright and included unfair competition. Bella was famous for copying LEGO artwork, assembly instructions, and even packaging. And like Coco before it, the outcome was no surprise. LEGO won the case. After this verdict, Bella was banned from directly using LEGO artwork. The Enlighten story took a different turn. In 2003, a huge shipment of more than 54,000 Enlighten sets was stopped by Finnish customs. The reason was simple but fatal. Enlighten's packaging was too similar to LEGO, confusing consumers. The Chinese manufacturer behind Enlighten didn't bother to appear in court, so LEGO won almost by default. The court then ordered the entire shipment to be destroyed, and interestingly, LEGO paid for the destruction out of their own pocket, simply because they wanted to make sure no boxes of Enlighten would end up on the market and tarnish their reputation. All 4 cases involving Chinese companies have shown a consistent message. LEGO may be happy for you to create on its brick platform, but if you blatantly copy and make money from it, sooner or later the law will wipe you out. The dispute with Nintendo. 2 different business fields. So what is LEGO suing Nintendo for? You may not know, in the 1960s, LEGO had a very interesting collision with Nintendo, the name that later became a legend in the gaming industry. At that time, Nintendo was not the giant Mario or Zelda like now, but was still exploring the toy industry. They launched a product called N&B Blocks, which at first glance looked 90% like LEGO. Still, small plastic bricks can be assembled into all kinds of things. The only difference is that Nintendo added many rounded details to create a new feeling compared to LEGO, which is famous for its square shape. What angered LEGO was not only the inspiration from Nintendo, but also the way Nintendo advertised. On Japanese TV, Nintendo showed 2 children building a rocket, one using LEGO, the other using N&B blocks. The result was a LEGO rocket that looked stiff, while the N&B blocks rocket looked prettier and softer. The ad even implied that if you want to be more creative, you should choose Nintendo, not LEGO. For LEGO, it was like a slap in the face, competing directly while also using its image to elevate its rival. So LEGO took Nintendo to court with accusations of plagiarism. What's interesting here is that the results are inconsistent. Some sources say LEGO lost the lawsuit, allowing Nintendo to continue selling N&B blocks. Others say LEGO put enough pressure on Nintendo to abandon the product line in the early 70s. But both sources agree on one point: N&B blocks didn't last long. The reason is simply the quality of the product. The pieces were easily broken, didn't fit together well, and kids would fall off after a while, so customers gradually turned away. LEGO won in the long run, even if it didn't work out as they had hoped on paper. Winning in court is not always winning. LEGO may have suffered a legal blow at that time, but their products were far superior, so they survived and exploded globally. Meanwhile, Nintendo abandoned the plastic brick dream to follow a different path. And fortunately, they turned away, and later we have Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing. Jokingly, if N&B blocks had been successful back then, who knows? Nintendo might not have bothered to make games, and we would never have had the legendary names we have today. After more than half a century, the 2 former rivals have now become partners. LEGO and Nintendo have joined hands to launch LEGO Super Mario, LEGO NES, and even LEGO The Legend of Zelda. It shows that when both brands are big enough, they no longer need to compete with each other, but choose to cooperate to open up new experiences. From a fan perspective, this is great. Having LEGO to build and Nintendo to play with, what more could you ask for? And those are typical lawsuits revolving around LEGO's trademark protection. If you are impressed with any story, please comment below the video to share with Brick Focus. If you have any interesting topics, please contribute. Otherwise, if I run out of ideas, the video will take a long time to make. Thank you very much for your attention and follow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support Brick Focus. And now, goodbye and see you again.